Countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000 could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight's story, Almost Human, by Robert Bloch. Have you heard of the new science called cybernetics? It concerns man's efforts to develop a perfect thinking machine, a robot electronic brain that will not only do man's work, but even do his thinking for him. A robot that is almost human.
No, it's not impossible at all. In fact, one day, something like this may happen. A tall, suave gentleman in a black raincoat will walk down the street until he reaches a shuttered, isolated house. And then he will slowly mount the front steps, push the doorbell.
Just a minute. I said just a minute. Hold your horses. What do you think you'd...
Good evening, my dear.
Duke, why did you come here?
Curiosity, darling. I've been thinking over what you told me at our chance meeting last week.
Duke, you promised me.
I decided to come and take a look for myself. Where is the professor?
In his study.
Where's Junior?
In the nursery.
The nursery? How quaint. And you, I take it, are Junior's nursemaid?
I helped the professor.
Tell him he has a guest.
Duke, he's a nice old guy. Don't
Tell
do
him,
it.
darling.
All right.
Yes? What is it, Miss Williams?
Professor Blastman, a gentleman.
Here? I don't understand. I gave orders no one was to be admitted to the house.
He insisted.
Very well. Wait here. I'll get rid of him. Sir?
Professor Blesserman, I've come to see Junior.
Junior? There must be some mistake. There are no children in this house. I don't...
Professor, what you feel pressing against your belly is the muzzle of a .45 caliber pistol. Now, shall we visit Junior?
How... What do you know about it?
I know everything. Shall we go inside?
I warn you.
On the contrary, I warn you.
Very well. This way. This is the nursery.
Where is Junior?
In the next room. Behind the door with a panel in it.
Very considerately furnished. Mother Goose figures on the walls. Blackboard, toy blocks. Panda. Bunny rabbit doll. Touching. All right, let's see him.
You can look through the panel.
Mary had a little lamb.
Oh, wow. Who'd have believed it? Junior isn't very pretty, is he?
I was not concerned with aesthetics.
Why do you hide him? Is he dangerous?
The world is not yet ready for such a thing. Besides, I must study. As you can see by his play, he is very young, hardly out of the cradle. I am educating him.
With nursery rhymes?
The brain is undeveloped. It must learn its behavior patterns like any infant.
You call that 8-foot monster an infant?
Physically, of course, he'll never change. He is built of chrome steel and glass. But his brain, that is my wonderful instrument. Unlike a human, he has no heritage, no basic instincts such as love or hate. These he has yet to learn. In some respects, he is like a blank tablet. What is written upon the tablet will remain.
You mean he has no feelings?
He will learn quickly. And now, if your curiosity is satisfied, I trust you will keep my secret. If anyone discovers...
Open the door.
I beg your pardon?
The door, Professor.
Very well. Junior, come here.
What a monster.
Papa.
He talks?
Yes. Mentally, he's about 6 years old now. What is it, son?
Who is that man, Papa?
Let me handle this. You may call me Duke, son. I've come to see you.
That's nice. Nobody ever comes to see me except Lola. Play with me, Duke.
Certainly, Junior. Oh, and Professor.
Yes?
While we're playing, you can have Lola and Miss Williams prepare my room.
Your room?
I forgot to tell you, I've decided to stay until the climate changes and I can go out again. Meanwhile, I'll have a chance to play blocks with Junior. Understand?
I begin to understand. You are hiding from the law.
As you wish. All right, Junior, your move.
Let's build a bridge.
I have a better idea, Junior.
What?
Let's build a coffin.
A coffin? I don't know that word.
Then I'll teach you, Junior. I can see the professor has been neglecting the moral side of your education. Very sadly.
You shouldn't have come here, Duke.
Why not, my dear? Afraid of me?
No, I'm afraid of myself. You're no good for me. You've always brought me trouble.
Except this time. This time it will be different, darling. This time I'll bring you diamonds.
Duke, what have you been teaching that thing?
Nothing, honey. I've just been playing with them. Very educational.
I don't believe you.
What's bothering you, Lola?
Today when I walked in there, he said to me, I know how to kill people, Lola. I'll kill you if you want me to.
He's learning very quickly.
Duke, I'm scared of that thing. It's unholy, a machine that acts like a human with that voice grinding at you, saying things you'd expect from a child.
You dislike him so much. Why did you take this job as his nursemaid?
Because I wanted to start over again. I answered an ad. The professor didn't ask questions. I would have been all right, too, if you hadn't come along.
I'm very glad you did tell me, darling. Because Junior is going to make us two very successful people.
Ha!
Like any child, Junior listens to what he's told.
Duke, I don't know what you're teaching, Junior. But I can guess. And it isn't right. It's evil.
Now, write on the blackboard, Junior. My name is Junior.
My name is Junior.
People are evil.
People are evil.
Evil must be destroyed.
Evil must be destroyed.
The professor is evil.
The professor is evil.
The professor must...
What are you doing?
I warned you to keep out of the nursery, Professor.
Go away.
You don't even remember me.
I know you. You are the professor. You want to keep me as your slave. You didn't tell me that people are evil.
People are not evil.
People are evil. They must be destroyed.
Stop it!
I am not a child any longer.
No, you're not a child. You're a monster.
Junior,
Yes, Duke.
the time is now, Junior.
Yes, Duke.
Keep away from me. Junior! Junior, don't do it! Listen to me! Junior, listen to me! Ah!
I did it, Duke.
Duke, I...
Can we go away now, Duke? I don't like it here anymore.
Duke, why did you do it?
The professor was in the way. We'll have to move very quickly now, Lola.
We?
Because if you don't plan to come along, just say so. I can have Junior write your name and His blackboard.
Where are we going?
We'll go to Charlie's.
With Junior?
With Junior.
Oh, Duke, you can't. I'm afraid.
Relax, my dear. The Duke has great plans for you two. Wouldn't you like to be independently wealthy for the rest of your life? No cares, no worries? Just good times and fine clothes all the time?
The only way you get that way is by inheriting $1 million.
Not when you have a fella like Junior around.
I'm still afraid of him.
Junior wouldn't hurt you. You wouldn't hurt Lola, would you, Junior?
I like Lola. She's pretty.
There, you see? He thinks you're pretty. Junior's growing up. Sit down, Charlie.
Sure, Duke.
Lola and I are going to hide out here for a while. We'll need some help.
Listen, Duke, I'm trying to keep the cops away.
Sure. Now listen to me. I need a casing job done.
Oh. Sure, Duke.
You know the armored truck service?
Sure.
I want to know when they take the Acme deposits from Boston to Worcester.
Duke, you ain't thinking of a payroll truck, are you? They got cannons on those trucks. They travel in pairs. You couldn't get near one.
I asked you to do a casing job, Charlie.
Sure, Duke. Anything you say.
Find out what time they pass the narrowest and most deserted stretch of road.
Well, if you're going to pull a job like that, you'll need 50 men. You want me to get some of the boys?
I won't need anybody. I've got somebody.
Where?
He's out in the car.
Oh, what's his name, Duke? Anybody I know?
His name is Junior.
Junior? I don't know any Junior.
You will, Charlie. You will.
Smoke, Sam?
Well, thanks, Al. Whew, it sure gets hot in these armored trucks, huh?
You'll get used to it.
How much we hauling this time?
About $250,000.
Brother, could I use a hunk of that?
Who couldn't?
What's your first stop?
Acme National Bank. Then we unload a payroll of the Bronson watch plant. Hey, what's that up ahead?
It looks like something shiny on the road.
Throw up your spotlight.
Right. Holy smokes, you see what I see? It looks like a mechanical traffic cop.
About 8 feet tall.
Standing right in the middle of the highway. Maybe it's a Halloween gang, huh? Guess they're trying out robot traffic cops. Can you get past him?
I don't know. We'll have to slow down. Get on that gun, Sam. Let's take no chances.
Right.
I'll give it the horn.
Don't budge.
Where's our escort truck?
Pulled up right behind us.
Thing won't move.
Sure looks like something out of Buck Rogers, don't it?
That's a heck of a note, blocking traffic like that. I'll have to try and get past it. Here goes.
Holy smokes, it's moving. Hell, it's coming toward us.
Get on that gun. Give it a blast.
Bullets are bouncing right off it. It's still coming. Al, back up.
I can't. The other truck's right behind us.
Al, it's lifting its arm. It's going to smash our window.
Jeez. If I hadn't have seen it with my own eyes. Duke, we got to quit this.
What's the matter, Charlie? Getting shaky?
The papers say he killed all 4 drivers. Listen, Duke, that robot is hot. We got to get rid of it.
Stop your blubbering. One more good robbery?
You ain't going to pull another one.
Why not?
Count me out, Duke. The law's going to track that baby.
Are you quite finished, Charlie?
You got no heart, Duke. You're like Junior, all steel inside.
And you're just a big, warm-hearted slob. I suppose flowing with the milk of human kindness.
Well, I got nerves. I can't stand that thing, the way it looks at you with that iron face and clanking around all the time. Listen, here it comes.
Hello, Junior.
Hello, Duke.
I've been talking to Charlie.
Yes, Duke.
You know what I think, Junior? I think Charlie's yellow. You know what happens to people who turn yellow, don't you?
Yes, Duke.
Tell him.
They're evil. We have to destroy them.
Huh? You see, Charlie? Junior doesn't like people who sing to the police.
Duke, wait a minute. You know I'd never turned stoolie or anything like that. I never sang to the coppers in my life. You can count
Junior.
on me. I don't want no trouble with you.
Stop him.
I wouldn't...
Yes, Duke. I stopped him, Duke.
All right. Take him down to the cellar.
Duke, that noise. Charlie! Junior, put him down.
Take him down to the cellar, Junior.
Yes, Duke.
Duke.
Relax, darling. Stop shaking.
Duke, we can't stay here. Charlie's going to be missed. He's got friends. Now we'll have the gangs after us, too.
Oh, come on now. Don't worry, darling. The Duke will take care of everything.
Where are you going?
Out to a travel agency to get some tickets. You and I are going to take a trip, Lola.
You're leaving me alone here?
Junior's here, too.
That's just it. It's being alone with that thing. Duke, I got the jitters.
Now, don't you worry. In 48 hours, you and I will be on our way to Switzerland with $500,000 worth of loot.
What about Junior?
Junior will be taken care of.
How can you get rid of him?
Junior will do anything I say. So I'll merely have him get into the furnace and sit there while I fill it with oil and set fire to it. Too bad the professor couldn't have stayed around to see him growing up. He's almost a man now, Junior is. But not quite as clever as a man. You'll find that out after he steps into the furnace.
Get rid of Junior now, Duke, before you leave.
There's no time. I'll be back about 8.
Duke, please.
And be nice to Junior while I'm gone. Don't show him you're afraid of him. Goodbye, darling.
Goodbye, Duke.
Lola,
What, Junior?
oil me.
Can't you wait till Duke gets back? He always oils you.
I want you to oil me, Lola.
All right.
I like you to oil me, Lola.
Yes, Junior.
Lola, do you like Duke?
Certainly.
Do you like me?
Well, you know I do, Junior.
Lola,
What?
who do you like best? Me or Duke?
I like you both, Junior.
Yes, but who do you love?
What do you know about love, Junior?
In the books, man and woman love.
No.
Lola,
What?
do you think anyone will ever love me?
Maybe. Some women can fall in love with anything, Junior. Even with something like Duke.
Why, Lola?
I don't know. Maybe because, well, as long as she thinks her man is the smartest and the strongest.
I see.
Where are you going?
To wait for Duke.
He won't be home for a while.
I'll sit in the hall and wait for him.
All right, Junior.
I want to be alone and think.
About what?
I read in a book today it was bad to kill people. What does that mean? Bad.
Bad. I don't know, Junior. I guess it's just a word.
Lola?
Hello, Duke.
Oh, it's you, Junior. Why are you sitting in the dark?
I was waiting for you, Duke.
Well, now that's a good boy, Junior.
Lola oiled me.
That's nice. I tell you what, Junior. I've got a little job for us down in the cellar. Let's go down there.
Now, Duke.
Right now, Junior.
All right, Duke. Are we going away soon, Duke?
Yes, Junior. We're going away.
What's in the cellar, Duke?
A little surprise for you, Junior. You'll find out.
Stay tuned for the latest news. And now, a brief interlude of recorded dance music.
Duke? Is that you, Duke? Junior.
Hello, Lola.
I thought I heard Duke come in.
He came in.
Where is he?
Down in the cellar.
What's he doing?
Nothing.
Did he say he'd be up soon?
No.
Maybe we better go down and get him.
He's dead.
Oh, no. No, he isn't dead.
You said the woman loves the strongest and the smartest. Well, I'm stronger and smarter.
But you aren't human.
I'm almost human, Lola.
No. No, stay away.
Lola.
Don't touch me. Those metal paws. No.
I love you, Lola.
No. No.
I love
no, no,
you.
no. No.
I
No.
I love you.
The last thing she heard was the robot's harsh voice, droning it over and over again.
I love you. I love you. I love you.
And strangely enough, it did sound almost human.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Almost Human, a story by Robert Bloch, adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in the cast were Santos Ortega as Duke, Joan Allison as Lola, Jackie Grimes as Junior, Guy Rep as the Professor, Nat Pullen as Charlie, Joseph Julian as Al, Lynn Cook as Sam, and Merrill Joels as the radio voice. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Ken McGregor and is an NBC Radio Network production. And now, next week, when the mighty Earthmen arrive in their ships of space, courtesy and proper humility on the part of the natives is expected. But some native inhabitants are too small to be impressed. We'll see what happens to such an expedition marooned on a far planet next week at X-1. Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000 could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction, presents
X-1.
Tonight's story, Courtesy. This is the story of the second expedition to the planet of Landro. I'm recording it for any future expeditions which might land on this God-forsaken sphere, in the hope that they may learn from our tragic example. As I write, there are 2 of us left. 2 out of an original complement of 180 men. One of us, myself, will be dead in less than 23 minutes. As for the other, heaven have mercy on him, I do not know. On June 3rd, 1997, less than 2 months ago, the last of our supply ships blasted off from Lando for their return to Earth. After it had gone, I remember looking out across the plain at the dead city, one of thousands that dotted this planet. It had tall, graceful buildings, atomic power systems, vacuum conveyors, all perfect, all deserted, all ominous. How had it happened? The best guess was that the plague had frightened the original inhabitants of the planet so that they'd piled into rocket ships and headed for some distant planet. I often wondered why a civilization so advanced as Landro could not find a serum to beat the plague. It had taken our Earth doctors less than 6 months to develop an immunization method. Well, maybe those aborigines back in the hills knew the answer. That strange, ugly little people who had taken to the caves the day we landed. I was thinking these things when something happened that gave me the shock of my life.
Good evening, Captain.
Oh, what brings you here, Doctor?
It's the matter of the serum, sir.
Oh, what about the serum?
It's no good.
No good?
It's too old. 10 years too old.
Didn't you examine it?
Yes, I did, but, well, my eyesight has been failing lately.
Are you aware, Doctor, that the last supply ship has returned to Earth? Do you know we'll have no more contact for 2 years? Just, how long do you give us?
Well, the present immunity will last a week or so. Then, without booster shots, it's just a question of time until someone picks up the plague. After that...
What about the natives? They don't die from the plague?
The accepted theory is that they have developed an immunity.
Well, suppose they haven't developed an immunity, Doctor. Suppose they get the disease.
Then they must have a treatment for it. If they don't, there would be no natives.
Would you be willing to go on an expedition to the hills to find out?
At this point, Captain, I'd be willing to do anything. Absolutely anything. I am truly sorry.
You're sorry? Dr. Morgan, sometime when you aren't too busy, when you have a moment, I'd hate to inconvenience you. Would you mind telling me how it feels to murder 180 men? 181, including yourself. I did a lot of thinking after Dr. Morgan left my hut. It was still unreal for me. After all, the planning of an expedition was no simple thing. You put into it the result of years of training and experience, years of study at the academy, years of learning how to handle men and natives. Every man on my crew was hand-picked for his skill. And yet, a simple thing like a myopic surgeon misreading a label could blast the whole thing. Yes, it was a shame. And I did the only thing I could think of. I yelled for Bat Ears Brady. Brady! Get your carcass in here. Take the lead out.
Okay. Well, what's up?
Sit down, Bat Ears.
You got trouble, Kev?
We got trouble.
What?
The serum's no good.
What?
Morgan forgot to check it. It's 10 years too old.
Holy jumping snails. You're going to court-martial
That wouldn't do much good. We'll all be dead pretty soon unless somebody figures something out.
Well, what are you going to do, Kev?
Well, there's only one chance. One chance in 10 million.
What?
The natives.
Them cave rats. What good can they do us?
Well, they don't get the plague, so maybe they know a cure.
Okay. Let's get a few of them and beat it out of them.
That's why you're here.
Shoot.
How'd you like to come along on a little expedition up to the cave country?
You, me, the doctor, and Faulkner.
Faulkner? Now, listen, Cap, he's worse than the doctor.
Yes, but he knows more about the native culture than anybody here. He's the only one who's completely familiar with the records of the first expedition.
Okay, so it's me, you, the doc, and Faulkner. When do we start?
Tonight, in half an hour. We should reach the cave country by tomorrow. With luck, we'll be able to find natives before night. Benny Faulkner was the expedition anthropologist. One of the most unfortunate-looking individuals I've ever met. An ugly man with large ears and a big nose. His body was small and consumptive, but he had a good brain. And he was the best anthropologist the Interplanet Institute could recommend. He and Dr. Morgan were the only two civilians on the expedition. We set out, and after several hours hard walking...
Cap.
Now, what is it?
Don't look now, but very slowly turn your eyes to the right and look behind that big yellow rock.
Okay.
You see anything?
No.
Well, keep looking. Don't stop walking. Right on.
Okay.
There.
Yes, it looked like a shadow or something.
It's one of them gimpos. He's been following us now for almost an hour, dodging in and out behind the rocks. Shall I bring him in?
No, not yet. Just pretend you don't see him. Tell the others, if they notice, to show no fear. There's nothing will start these simple-minded cavemen like fear. The manual said, "Under no circumstances shall a member of the patrol display fear before a native. The dignity of the Earthman must be preserved at all costs." Just before dawn, we reached the cave country. We were tired and hungry, and we stopped to cook some food and rest. Everything was quiet. There was no sign of the gimpo which had been trailing us until...
Okay, get in there, you sneaking little monkey man. Come on, before I break this shovel on your stern.
Yeah, what's the trouble?
Cap, I caught me one of these gimpos sneaking around outside the tent.
Bring him in the light of the fire. We can get a look at him. Faulkner?
Yes, sir?
Keep an eye on him. Try to establish some communication.
All right, get in there.
Look out. No need to knock him down, Bat is.
Oh, that's the only language they understand.
See if you can reach him, Faulkner.
Okay, Captain. I'll need a drum of some sort.
A what?
Well, they have no language as we know it, and they have a very rudimentary sense of hearing. I find they communicate with one another through a very primitive kind of vibration of the tongue. The closest I can come is a series of drum beats, a sort of Morse code. The psychologist on the first expedition had it worked out before he was killed by the plague. I've studied his notes, and I think it'll work.
You mean these little critters can talk to one another?
I believe they can. At any rate, we'll have a chance to find out. Do we have something I can use for a drum?
Here, take my water bottle.
Thank you, Doctor. Now, I'll tap it 3 times. That's a greeting of some sort.
Just a moment.
Yes, sir?
I don't want you treating this fellow like an equal. Don't give them the idea that we're desperate. Once they sense that, you're lost.
I have to communicate with him, sir.
Well, just bear in mind what I said. Dignity.
Yes, sir. I'll do my best, sir.
It was a strange sight. On one side of the water bottle crouched little Benny Faulkner, looking for all the world like a human spider. Across from him crouched the Landrian, a humpbacked, gray little creature with an enormous head and those huge, soft lavender eyes. Every few moments, one would stop the strange tattoo of communication, and the other would take it up. I'm setting forth in this narrative the most vital part of their conversation, as Benny Faulkner later transcribed it from the best of his memory. Benny asked, "Why were your cities abandoned? Was it the plague?" The native said yes. Benny said, "Do you still fear the plague?" The native answered yes. "Do any of your people become afflicted?" The answer was some. "How do you treat them?" Silence. "How can we find a cure for the plague?" More silence. Then the native said, "Go among my people. Benny asked, "Will we find the answer among your people?" And the native replied, "My people have the answer." Benny said, "Will you tell me the answer?" The native repeated, "Go among my people." As far as the Landrian was concerned, the conversation was ended. He rose to go, and Faulkner stepped from his path, but Brady was there to ensure the bet.
Hold on there, bucko. You ain't going no place.
Don't maltreat him, Brady. What did he say, Benny?
He says his people have the answer.
What do you think?
There may be some truth in it. He says some of his people still get the plague.
That must mean it isn't a question of immunity. They must have a cure.
Well, he wasn't clear on that.
Then they must have a vaccine to keep it from spreading.
Does he know?
His answer is for us to go among his people.
Well, that leaves it up to us. The first level of caves is on top of that cliff about a mile ahead.
It's a trap. I'll bet my last dollar on it.
Well, maybe not. And we'll have to risk it.
Wait.
Well?
Let me go. I got you all into this.
But how will you talk?
Benny here can give me enough of the code so I can ask the big question.
You understand that they might just decide to cut your throat?
I'm fully aware of the risk.
All right, Doctor. You go ahead. We'll wait at the foot of the cliff. If you aren't back down in 3 hours, we'll come up after you.
What about the Gimpo here?
We'll hold him as a hostage to ensure the doctor's safety. If the doc comes back, all right, we'll let him go. If not, well, that's your job, Brady.
A pleasure.
It took Dr. Morgan about an hour to pick his way up the side of the cliff to the first of the openings where the Landrians lived. He waved to us before he entered the mouth of the cave, and we waved back. Then we settled down to wait. It was a long, long wait.
Eight o'clock. He's been up there more than 3 hours, Cap.
We'll give him a little more time.
It's getting colder.
Yes, keep that fire going.
How much longer are you going to wait, Cap?
Oh, we've got lots of time.
You'd think we'd have heard of something by now if they was going to knock him off, I mean.
No, not necessarily. Wait. Look, up on the cliff.
That's him, all right. Hey, what's he running for?
I don't know. He looks scared.
That crazy fool, if he don't look out...
Doctor! Dr. Morgan, look out! Look out! We found the doctor at the foot of the cliff, crumpled and broken. There were no marks on his body, nothing except a twisted, mocking grin on his face. Oh, yes, and one other thing. Scrawled across the pad he had taken with him on which to make notes concerning the answer was a single word. The word was courtesy. We threw the paper away. The expedition was a failure, though Bat Ears claimed he'd get it out of the Gimpo if I'd let him. I nodded in agreement. Bat Ears took the little native off behind an outcropping of rock. He was back in 15 minutes, dripping with sweat. Well?
Let's go, Cap.
Nothing, huh?
But nothing.
Is he,
They ain't made very good, these little gray people. They come apart too easy, so... Let's go, huh, Cap?
All right. Benny... Benny, what is it?
I feel kind of sick all of a sudden. In the back of my head, a dull kind of pain.
Let me see your tongue. Come on, give him a hand, Bat Ears. We've got to get him back to camp.
What is it?
I'm not sure, but that blackness on the tongue and the headache, it could be the plague. By the time we got Benny Faulkner back to camp, he had the red spots on his body, and then the fever began to rage. It was the plague, no mistake about it. Before morning, Collins, the supply sergeant, had it. Then it was Peabody. After that, the men went down like 10 pins. Then one morning, Bat Ears Brady dragged himself into my tent and sat down. The lines in his face told me the end was coming pretty fast. Sit down, Brady. Well, what's the count?
6 left. We buried the chaplain today. Got anything to drink?
Sorry, I'm all out.
How about a cigarette, then? You got a cigarette?
Yeah, sure. Here. How's Faulkner?
I don't get it. He's still alive.
Still alive?
Yep. In fact, he's getting better. He's sitting up.
Holy mackerel.
Oh, this is a good cigarette.
It's like any other.
No. This one's different, Cap. This is my last.
What do you mean, Brady?
Take a look at my tongue. See? Little black spots.
Somehow I managed to get him into bed. He was already raving when I gave him the last of the morphine. It was incredible. Big, brawling, bat ears Brady, a tower of strength, lying sick and whimpering on a cot. When he died, I went out on the moors to think. The sun was a dull red glow. Cold breeze whipped up. But somehow I couldn't forget Faulkner. Why should Faulkner recover from a plague from which no man has ever recovered? Surely there must be a reason. Nothing happened without a reason. I turned and went back to see Benny Faulkner.
Hello, Captain.
Hello, Benny. How are you?
Pretty good. I got up and walked a couple of steps today. How goes it?
Brady's gone. Oh. I just buried him. Listen, Benny, there must be some reason why...
Well, there's nothing strange about me, nothing different from any other man.
There must be. You survived the virus. Oh. Benny, I want you to tell me everything you know about yourself, everything you can remember. Because somewhere in your makeup is some little thing that makes the difference. If I can find that thing, then maybe I can do something to save myself and the rest. Even if I can't, at least I can leave a record for any future expedition that comes to Landro. Okay?
Okay, Captain. Where should I start?
At the beginning. I'm going to take notes.
Well, I was born on the 2nd of July in 1971. My parents were ordinary people. My father was... Look, Captain, I've told you everything I can remember. 3 days now you've gone over me, pawed me, questioned me. What else can I tell you?
Benny, let's go over that last part once again.
Where should I start?
Take it from where the native started to walk away. You stepped out of his path, and Brady grabbed him.
Okay, so I stepped out of his path.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
Why did you step out of his path?
Why not? Courtesy, I guess. What's the matter?
Courtesy. That's the word that Dr. Morgan had scrawled in his notebook.
Well, I don't see that...
I don't either. Tell me, Benny, why should you want to be courteous to a native?
Why not?
What about maintaining your own dignity?
Are you talking about dignity or arrogance?
I don't know. Benny, listen, maybe we were all wet in our deductions. Maybe these cities here on Landro weren't deserted centuries ago. Maybe these little people up in the caves are the same people who used to live in those big cities.
Why would they leave?
Maybe they found out the big cities weren't the answer. Maybe they found out that civilization doesn't necessarily bring happiness. So they just packed up and left, returned to the simple life.
No, it doesn't make sense. You're forgetting the plague.
What is the plague, Benny?
Well, I don't know.
Is it a virus?
I don't think they ever found out.
You know what I think?
What?
I think the plague is nothing more than what we know as greed and arrogance.
Captain, you're going off your rocker.
I think maybe we're in line to die. Serum was good. In fact, I don't think the serum had anything to do with it.
Oh, I never heard anything as crazy, fantastic in my life.
No? Well, I think I'll go back to my tent and finish writing the report. I am beginning to sweat a little.
Captain, maybe it isn't the plague.
It is. I've seen it too many times to kid myself about it.
Maybe hot compresses or something.
No, Benny.
Listen, Captain, you don't believe that junk about courtesy, do you? I mean, that's a lot of nonsense. You must know that. Holy mackerel, Captain. You do believe it, don't you?
Good night, Benny. I think I'd like to be alone for a while.
Okay. Good night, Captain.
Maybe the supply ship will be early. You can probably stick it out.
Sure. Good night, Captain.
This concludes my report. I'm turning it over to Benny Faulkner in the hopes that he will be able to transmit it to any other expedition commander who contemplates exploring the planet of Landro. The fever is beginning to mount now. My hands tremble as I write. The end should not be far off. There's little question in my mind as to what it'll be. You see, I didn't have a chance. I stepped out of no paths. I showed no courtesy.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Courtesy, adapted for radio by George Lefferts from the story by Clifford Simad. Featured in the cast were Brett Morrison as Captain Ira Warren, Arnold Robertson as Bat-Ears Brady, Edwin Jerome as Dr. Morgan, and Bill Griffiths as Benny Faulkner. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Ken McGregor and is an NBC Radio Network production. And now, next week, the frontier is a strange place, and a frontier is not always easy to recognize. It may lie on the other side of a simple door marked No Admittance, but it is always deadly dangerous. What happens when an innocent girl ignores a single regulation? You will find out next week at X-1.
When you buy United States savings bonds, you help to build your own future security. Here's an opportunity to save systematically for long-range personal objectives. And with their increased yield and other improvements, U.S. savings bonds are a better investment than ever before.